It's Thursday. There's something in the water today. Good morning and welcome to another episode of Tea and Coffee with Paula and
Jay, and don't you slander our well water. There's nothing in the water. We're just in a goofy mood this morning. And she's slandering our well water. Well, yeah, this show brought to you by Levine Well Water.
Yeah, Levine Well Water.
Pumping water since 2021. Thank you very much and good morning, everybody. Yeah, we're in a giddy mood for some reason today because we're all so pretty, very pretty. Yeah, so good morning. And welcome to the morning show with Paula and Jay.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Hope you had a great evening yesterday. And hope you have a wonderful day today, too.
Well, I hope you had a great evening. Every evening. I win. I don't know. Maybe there's something in the water. Maybe ceases or something. I don't know what's going on.
Well, you made the comment that your computer was acting a bit funny this morning. So
it does that from time to time.
So I said good morning to Ceases.
Yeah, and I'm a computer guy, so I'm cautious. I don't click yes on everything and that kind of stuff. But from time to time, my phone slows down, my messaging app, odd, and then my computer acts a little bit funky. It's really the clipboard doesn't seem to function right. And if you were going to, copy messages or copy text or copy what's going on a computer, the clipboard might be one of the things you play with. It's just funky.
Yeah,
just funky. In either case, let's not get all paranoid. I don't have any tinfoil with us, but holy smokes, we got a heart already. People like waking up to your giggle. Don't put your screen face on next, she said. They don't want to see you first. Holy drama.
Diva.
There, pretty lady. There you go.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. We've got lots of an update from the subject matter we were talking about yesterday with the ostriches.
Okay.
I'm going to be touching about that on the news. News coming up. We were working on some of our promotional.
You skipped a homestead update.
It's not done. Is that normally first on the agenda?
Yes. It's good morning, homestead. Then we get to work.
I did not get the agenda then.
She skipped the meeting.
I did. Homestead update. Yes, homestead update.
Backup generator. We got the backup generator. Yeah. Fuel or tri-fuel so that we can go from propane to gas and really handle any situation. We really want to be prepared this winter. And we're going to keep it warm in the shed and pull it out when we need it. So hopefully our main generator, which we've got all the parts now, all the instructions for, and I can start Legoing it together, putting it together. If there's anything that goes wrong with that, we now have a backup generator.
Yeah, which is essential when you're off grid, but we don't anticipate requiring it, but we want it to be there.
Yeah, that's for sure. Thing. Yeah, we got the cold weather kit. We should be able to be good till well past -40. And it's the first year with it, 10-year warranty, or this is the main generator, the big one.
Thank you, Generac.
Yeah, so hopefully we don't have any problems, but if we do, we're good.
Yep.
So that's a quick update for you all. I spent a lot of time getting ready for the generator install. And said, okay, well, we need our backup anyways. It's going to be cloudy coming up. Let's get things ready.
Yep.
All right, there you go. Now you can jump into the news.
Well, just what we did yesterday evening, we spent a lot of time working on our campaign wording, slogans, all that type of thing, because we've now started to put in, at least I've started to put in my campaign stuff in our local Breton Booster, and then we'll be doing it again. It comes out every Wednesday, so we'll be doing that for the next few weeks until election time.
Absolutely, and I was being careful because I wanted to make sure my bank account was set up and in order. If you need a Bull Valley Credit Union account, start early. There's a lot of work going on there.
Which is good. They're busy, which says they were a little bit backlogged because of the amount of new business they were dealing with. So well done to them.
Yep. So that's all set up, and now I can start tracking expenses because I want to make sure I am following all the rules and the laws around the election, even if not everybody else is. And speaking of election, that's our guest today. It's going to be Glen Gunderson, and he is a Division 1 counselor for Brazeau County, and we're going to be talking about campaigning, Brazeau County Council, and the future of our lovely neighborhood.
Yep, which is a great neighborhood. So looking forward. Change is needed. Freshness is needed, but also getting the experience from someone long term, such as Glen, getting the information and experience from him would be good to share. So look forward to his today.
Yeah, and I reached out to several other counselors to find some time for them, and they're all very busy because they also have full-time jobs in addition to council. But we are planning and offering to come on the show at least once before the election to get their messages out and to speak to some people around here.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good idea
Mhm.
because this is probably the number one west of Brazo or west of Breton, east of Buck Creek podcast out there. So we'll definitely make sure that we can help as we can to reach constituents with the messaging and kind of hold these people accountable too. Like if you said something on the show that you promised to do and you don't, that's something we can address whether we win or not.
Yeah.
Accountability on the council is one of my main points that I'm trying to establish. Again, whether I'm a councillor or not, I'd like to see government accountability all over the place. So we'll be doing that. So today is the first day with Glen.
Yeah, and I plan to try also to invite the school board trustee candidates and any of the incumbents there too to speak to it, because I think sharing that information now, because a lot of people actually didn't know you could vote for your school board trustees. Some people I've encountered. So I think it's great to, again, always create some awareness, and I like using our platform for that.
100%. So we are doing what we can to make this municipal election awareness for it to be strong and people to get to the polls. And we did have some success in getting people to register as candidates in various levels, as we received messages and people saying they're doing that. Even our good friend Sherry Butler, she's running for trustee as well.
Oh, fantastic. Yep. That's fantastic. Yeah, you go. We wish you all the luck.
So if you see Sherry Butler on your ballot, vote. She's an amazing woman, very active, volunteers a lot. And yeah, we like her quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's jump into the news because there is a whole bunch of things to address.
Yeah.
Did I skip anything? We got the homestead.
You got the change your glasses, you're good to go.
Yeah. Wardrobe and makeup. No makeup, but there is wardrobe and hair.
Yeah.
But my hair's not nice, guys. You know why. Paula.
Blaming me. Your head.
I'm giving you credit. So I didn't scroll down to the beginning yet. So excuse me as we jump through some of these. There we go. Dean Rainey. Yesterday was a great interview. He's coming here. We're going to do 3 shows. Calgary. Well, first Edmonton, Red Deer, Calgary. So stay tuned. I'm trying to get that up this week. And then you can reserve your seat. And away we go. We'll watch a couple double features, talk to some doctors. And it used to be far more taboo, the subject, but not anymore.
Yeah.
The gates are opening. The dam is breaking and the information is flowing.
Yeah, more importantly, the videos are staying up.
Sure. Yeah, it is. But I think more importantly to that one, because I got a trumper on this one, is people are more aware of what the injuries look like, and maybe they were injured as well. And this is a way to kind of get people more aware of, suddenly they can't run as long, or their breathing's hard, or there's an ache or dizzy spell or foggy minds. And I do want to help. Like, we didn't start this show for purposes of our own to share our generator installs. We did this to provide information to people, and hopefully we help some people out there.
Correct.
So breaking. So the ostrich stuff. So I'll give everybody an update. I have a couple phone calls today, meetings today. One is with an RCMP whistleblower who reached out to me, wants to provide me with some of the information they have. Long-time, multi-decade RCMP officer, and still in contact on the West Coast with many, and wants to share some information. So I'll be doing that conversation today, followed by a deep dive into the court documents and some of the corporation registrations around this issue to kind of dig into deeper this whole thing about what's the immunity they're talking about inside of the ostrich. There's mixed messages out there. People talking about COVID immunity, and then it's avian bird flu immunity. And was it the vax immunity, or was it the virus immunity, or SARS-CoV-1? What is it we're talking about? Because and this is the trouble with a lot of independent or civilian media, is sometimes there is mixed messaging, and you have to dig through it and figure out what it is they're actually talking about. So we'll be jumping into the court documents, which contain the farm's arguments.
Exactly, yes.
Right. So that is what they say. So we'll dig into that. There is some corporation documents we're digging into. There's some peer-reviewed studies we're digging into. So this afternoon, Nico and myself are meeting up with a gentleman who spent a lot of time on this already. And it's in an effort to dig into this and figure out what's kind of going on here. using what's been filed and already put out to there, and not necessarily what the RCMP call open source.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, open source is great; it's fast, but you have to be able to get through it to see what's real or not. Because for one example, these were not pets.
Correct.
We can flat out say that.
You
no
got
matter what.
400 ostrich pets.
Well, it used to be 500, so we'll get into that.
So exactly.
But they're not pets. They're for a purpose, whether it's a biolab, whether it's research, whether it's testing, whether it's growing. They weren't pets, so that's one example. But we'll dig into that, bring some more of that to you. It might be on Saturday's show. It might be a special we do, but I'm doing some meetings today to dig into that.
Cool.
And just after the show, breaking news on this issue: an application to the Supreme Court of Canada has stayed the call of the ostriches. The decision to take the case or not, and the outcome will be final. There's no higher court.
Yeah,
you can't appeal Supreme Court decisions, including whether or not they take the case on. That's one of the first decisions that we'll have to wait for. And then we're waiting for the arguments to be made available. At this moment, at the time of this post, I still didn't get the legal docs.
Okay,
I now have the legal docs. So we'll be digging into that. And thank you to Viva Fry, Chris Stacey, Ray Blend for the updates. Viva, somebody that I communicate with. Yeah, he's been working hard on this one. Chris and Ray Blend as well. I got some pushback because I'm not recognizing everybody, because there's a couple people that are covering this that people obviously watch, but due to the litigation with Ezra Levant, I do not promote or publicize anything. It's an abundance of caution, to be frank with you, because if I have an opposing opinion or a critique, I can't freely share that at this stage. So I just stay away from an organization that he's familiar with. Put it that way. But I don't mean they're not doing good work. So do what you want. But if you're going to continue to hound me to cover them, I can't. So please understand that. Wiretap, a good man. Jason here is doing some good work. He's really ramping up his coverage of stuff. He took some time off. Now he's back. He's really getting into it. Even though the ostriches are important to a lot of people, let's not forget about the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, because they have direct ties to Antifa and the rise of political violence. So Jason goes through and provides some of this wiretap, some of his information, some of his receipts. Bernie Farber is certainly comes up a lot, and I don't understand why the Canadian government, well, I kind of do, why the Canadian government is providing so much funds and support and recognition to this group, when clearly you don't even have to be liberal to understand that they've picked a side and they attack the other side. And this is not how we should be doing this kind of topic. If you're genuine about addressing hate, which I don't think hate speech exists, it's just speech you don't like. But if you are trying to address hate or extremism or violence or groups or stuff like that, it needs to be across the board, which would mean some of these groups would be on that list.
Correct.
So thank you to Wiretap. Keep that going, because this is a very important issue. This is the kind of things that divides country. Yeah,
because it's not just like poetry and love songs coming out of their mouths at the end of the day. No.
Not songs like "You're so pretty, you're so pretty." And now here, kudos to Mel Arnold, an MP, Conservative MP, who stood up in the House yesterday, who asked the Liberals what's going on with the ostriches, asking for answers. He did this after the Supreme Court was notified and provided their release about the application. And it's also an expedited application, which means things will move really quickly. And I don't know if we have anything more about the ostriches after this, so I'll kind of update you on that. The police and the Canadian Food Inspection Agency are moving ahead with setting up the facilities to complete all. So I do suspect that they're going to get go ahead from the Supreme Court, because they are not slowing down. And the custody of the birds are now with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, not with the farm anymore. One more update on that was an Indigenous group provided a cease and desist because they claim ownership of the land. I think that's going to be ignored, because the Supreme Court is just going to head. Also kind of late to the party if that was your position. But in either case, it does seem like a lot of people are coming to the table to stop this. but now it's going to be in the Supreme Court's hands. It's going to be final.
Final, yeah.
And I think it's going to be quick. My suspicion about what's going to happen is they're going to refuse to hear it. Full stop. Because the way they worded the stay was the respondent, so the government in this case, has up to October 3rd to file, but they can file anytime.
Yeah.
And then the applicant, which would be the farm who applied to the Supreme Court, will have 2 days after that. And then from that point on, the Supreme Court can render the decision of whether or not they'll have a hearing on it. It's very rare that the Supreme Court will hear something. So normally they reject the application. And this could be something they hear, but I don't. So I don't think the Canadian Food Inspection Agency thinks so either, because they're moving ahead with getting ready. So as soon as that decision comes down, they're going to be ready to go. And so I'm not calling for that, to just be clear. But this is going to be, I think, a pretty quick response from the Supreme Court.
Yep.
But kudos to Mel Arnold for bringing it up. The Liberal government couldn't give him answers because it's in front of a court now. So this is why I kind of highlighting this. Like, it's great that he said something to bring the awareness forward to ask the Liberals, but he timed it in such a fashion that they actually had an answer, which is we can't talk about it in front of the court now. So yeah, two birds, two wings of the same bird, maybe.
Yep.
Because it was not very productive. In either case, it's out there now. Trump, oh my gosh. This guy should have a late show when he's done. There might be a spot for one when he's done, but this is true. This is real. I've checked it. There's several sources for it. This happened. This is going on right now. In the White House, there's a wall of fame, a walk of fame, presidential walk of fame, where it has all the presidents listed and a photo of them. So between Trump, because he was 45th and the 47th, so Mr. 46, Biden, he put up a picture of an auto pen.
Yes.
Now, that's got quite the meaning, because who was the president?
Correct.
And who was signing things, especially these pardons at the end. So it's a clever troll. It truly is. I laughed. I had to go check to make sure it was true. And it is. So kudos on that one. I said trolling on a presidential level.
Yeah.
You got to admit, this is funny.
It is.
It is funny. It was a nice little break during such a serious day. Tylenol, as Trump came out with Kennedy and said Tylenol is being linked to autism, Peter McCullough came out and said kind of sort of true. It's vaccine first, then the fever, then the Tylenol for the fever, which accelerates the autism. So according to Peter McCullough, Dr. Peter McCullough, and many people, Tylenol isn't cause, it's the amplifier.
Yeah.
So this will be stuff that's going to be worked out over the, I'm sure, months and years ahead. But Tylenol in 2017 themselves said, we actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns today. This is 2017.
Yeah.
Not yesterday.
Exactly.
2017. And so I posted here in 2017, Tylenol made it clear that they don't recommend their products to pregnant women. However, in 2021, the government and media said it was safe and effective for pregnant women to take an experimental shot. You can't make this stuff up. It gives me a massive headache too.
Pun intended.
So when we spoke to Dr. Trope and others, it's very clear that the golden rule of medicine is to never give a pregnant woman anything. Like, this is one of the last things you do. As you did, there was no caffeine, there was no sushi, like you stayed away from everything.
Yeah, no, I did. And to the I'm going to say, to the classless women who are posting videos out there who are pregnant, obviously pregnant, and pop in Tylenol just to prove a point, shame on you. You're pregnant.
That's a risk.
You've got a life in you, growing and developing. And what are the odds? Sure, the odds are potentially could be low, but also they're not. You're pregnant. Don't do that.
Yeah, it's well, they're doing it out spite. So it's not to spite the shame. What's the saying go?
Cut off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah,
your child.
So harm your baby to spite your
president.
Yeah, so bad. And thank you very much for clarifying yesterday. I said black eyes, eyeballs, eyes, black eyes, because he was swinging and punching. I do see that a couple people in our audience misheard it the same way you did. So I'm glad that I had the opportunity to clarify.
Yeah.
And we're moving on here now to Tommy Lusakic. Tommy. Yeah, Thomas. So apparently he applied to intervene in the court matter for the Alberta Prosperity Project's question in an attempt to convince the court to disallow Albertans from even having a chance to be asked a question. Today, the court rejected the application. So this was yesterday. Not the move of a man who's confident in his own petition. Also, driving an RV around rural Alberta to collect signatures looks very desperate and not a good use of donations. This is my opinion. What happened to collecting signatures in Edmonton and Calgary? It looks like he's short, very short. So just to understand what this means is we know the Alberta Prosperity Project's question has been brought forward by Elections Alberta to the court to see if it's constitutionally allowed. It's going to be, because the question on the Constitution through the Clarity Act, through the Supreme Court decision is absolutely going to be held up. But what the court's really doing, in my opinion, is they're letting people intervene and have their say on it before it moves forward, mainly the First Nations people of Alberta. But Lusakic applied as well to be an intervener, and he got slapped down. Now, there's a whole bunch of things that I think that the messaging from this is wrong for Lusakic, because why is he intervening with a petition if he is going to be successful with his? If he truly believes he's going to be successful with his, why do you even care? That's number one. Number two, what's his argument? You can't ask questions like this. Well, his is a question like this. The fact that his is a policy and not a constitutional one is a big change and big difference. But he's currently asking this question, just the inverse of it. So it's really confusing why he even bothered. It does look like maybe he's just trying to get his name out there, look like a fighter, and possibly start something else in Alberta. But look, to me, this seems a little bit desperate that he doesn't have the numbers and he doesn't think he's going to be successful at this stage.
Yeah, I look, I didn't think he was going to be successful to begin with. So I think last ditch attempts, just showboating in some cases, him in the RV, still trying to keep himself and the movement top of mind, but I think more of keeping himself top of mind.
And there's the RV. So you can just look for this fake shaggin' wagon driving around in rural Alberta. But I'm serious. Like, if he had the numbers, he could have collected them from Calgary and Edmonton. That would have been where he would be more likely to be able to get support for this. And he doesn't have to drive around all over the place. Just set up shop like he did in several locations in those cities, and you'd be able to get these numbers. It doesn't appear he's got them. So we're going to see where this goes. He's already said things like people feel threatened and it's dangerous, and excuse after excuse. The dog ate my signatures. That's going to be coming soon.
And shame on him to say that, oh, it's dangerous. No, it's not.
No,
that's not true. Yeah. That's not true.
Yeah, he's implying two things there. One, that people that are for it are causing problems. And he's also implying that the UCP government, Danielle Smith's government itself, would retaliate against people, because his statement was, we're not going to release it to the government. It only goes to Alberta, Elections of Alberta, and myself. And he's implying that it's unsafe with the government and with the opposition. Not true on both fronts.
Yeah. And you wanted to share something as well?
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so there's this website out there that I came across, and sorry it took so long to get this up here, but it is called the Alberta Nation Directory. This is an independent volunteer. I've chatted with the person who's doing it. They're going around collecting the names, podcasts, articles, events of things that are related to independence, a resource on Alberta independence. And I found myself on there, and I was so honored and pleased that they did this. I didn't ask for this. It's not like a register your stuff page or anything like that. So I was pretty pleased that I've been recognized in this fashion to be sharing information about the independence of Alberta. So you can find me as a person on there. You can also find the show on there as well. And they use a new logo, so it's been up to date. So pleased about that. Well, not so much logo, but the fact that the show's on there.
Yep.
And if you go and check out the videos right now off the homepage, the first one there is the Bruce Party collection. So this was the 2 interviews that we did with Bruce. I put it together as one video and posted it, and that's there. And you'll find others. So the Reclaiming Conference is there. Our good friend Chris Scott is on there. Got the Alberta Independent Movement. Just took a big leap forward thanks to Ottawa and Quebec. So there's a lot of stuff there. There's Nadine. So go check it out because it's a good resource. If you want to find out what's going on and stay up to date, this is a good place for it. Thanks for the reminder. I've been meaning to get that on there for a long time. So thanks a lot for that because they deserve some recognition. And go check out the directory. Lots of our shows made it on there.
Great.
So here's another one. So Mark Nixon, who's going to be on the show next week, I think it is. Or
looking forward to that.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
So and also we got Clyde Do Something coming, Leighton Gray. We got a lot of people lined up for you all to come chat with us. Here he is. He's breaking. Carney rejects lifting the oil and gas emissions cap. Say goodbye to jobs. Say hello to depression, and that's on 2 levels. There's going to be the emotional depression when you're out of work, and there's going to be the economic depression when the economy starts to crash, start losing jobs. That's exactly what's going to happen. Canada is sitting on the 3rd largest oil reserves in the world, and our PM just treats it like toxic waste. Jobs gone, investments gone, prosperity gone. Read his book. He is following his book. He made his blueprint there, values, he calls it. And again, with the words, like it really should be called Destruction of Alberta. Like that's really should be the title of that book. But values is what he calls it, and he lays it out there. Goes after the capital markets for oil and gas, goes after the market themselves. You go after the industry, go after the carbon. Like he lays it out in that book how he's going to destroy what he calls like legacy energy resources.
I read a quote a couple of weeks ago, and it really caught my attention because it was basically saying people have to suffer. There is going to be poverty, and accept it because it's for the greater good. And I read it like, goodness, holy moly. Yeah, that's really what you want to send to the masses, that this is my agenda for you, because it's not going to be for him.
People really should have paid attention, not just when we started saying almost 2 years ago now that Carney's coming to destroy Canada, as he was. But when he started to do the leadership race, he said things along the lines of, we're going to have to put safety nets in place for Alberta because the next little bit is going to be difficult for Alberta. But there is a signal. Like he's absolutely trying to help. Alberta would be fine without his involvement. So what does that actually mean? That means he's going to interfere. So we knew that for sure. Then I posted this just this morning because CBC 4 years ago aired a story warning Canadians about Tylenol and pregnancy. And now they claim there's nothing to worry about. That's unbelievable. Thank you for Ryan. Post that. And my cheeky comment of the day is, I wonder what would happen if real Donald Trump said jumping off a bridge was bad for your health. How are you so brainwashed that even when the manufacturer says they don't recommend pregnant women take their product, you still say it's safe? This is happening across the board on media right now. There's a lot of examples of even Reuters saying 7 years ago, it's not safe, and now they're saying it's safe. It quite literally is a type of Trump derangement syndrome that no matter what he says or his administration says, the opposite must be true or be done. We're just highlighting this because, like you said earlier in the show, if there is a risk to your unborn baby, don't. And the manufacturer says don't. Go to your doctor. You get your doctor's involvement. Don't make the decisions based on social media. You be safe. We are talking about a young developing life here.
Yeah, exactly. I can't fathom it.
And I'm still running for council.
And speaking of which, we can see Glenn is already waiting in the background.
Yeah, and we're going to bring him on in just 1 minute. But folks, we do want to make sure that you are safe out there. You're taking care of yourself. Don't listen and just run with everything you hear. Do a little bit of research. Talk to your doctor. Make sure that you're doing the right thing. Because at the end of the day, we want you to live, and we want your little ones to live and not have troubles. So on that note, let's go ahead and bring in the man of the half hour. The man of the hour, the man of the half hour, Mr. Glen Gunderson. Good morning.
Morning, Glen.
Paula Jay.
Happy to have you, and congratulations. You're running for another term. How many terms have you been on council for now?
It was a by-election, so the past councillor had actually passed away there in an accident over by Alsike. So I was elected in April 2023. So it's only been 2 years and 6 months. And that first year was, I was pretty honest with everybody. I told them I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't. It took me 2 months to get my feet under me. So yeah, I didn't charge any per dimes, didn't charge any expenses, just because I knew I was learning. And so once I kind of got my feet under the ground, I was more comfortable charging per dimes and being involved in the meetings. But yeah, the first day was budget. The first meeting was a budget meeting. So the day before, I was brought in and sworn in, and they gave me the budget binder, which is a 3-ring binder, and it's huge. It's 3 inches big, and okay, we got to read this. And then I had a note from a ratepayer concern already for a road, so I had to call that. And yeah, I come out of there with just kind of my head swirling around. But yeah, it was interesting. So 2 years, not quite enough. I'm still learning quite a bit. So it seems like something new coming up all the time.
I'm actually surprised to hear that, because I listened to the council meetings now. I've been kind of going back to catch up on what's going on around here. And you are pretty active when it comes to the meetings. You're on point, and you definitely understand the value of the tax rates, ratepayers, what they're here for, and why we need to take care of them. I did notice you're Division 1, right? Division 1 counselor. And there's, I think, 2 people registered to run with you this time around. Is it abnormal that we're seeing a bunch of divisions have 3 people running? Is it normally that way?
My first go, I had 4 people running against me, and this time just 2 other. No, I had 3 people running against me. It was 4 in total, and we split the vote equally. I just got in by a handful of votes, so I didn't have a big mandate. This time, we just have Trina Seaver and Shirley McConnell. And Shirley's ran against me before. She's a very strong candidate. She's a big cattle farmer in the area and well known. So Trina Seaver, I think she's really big on volunteering, and she's with the Brunswick Search and Rescue. I've met her once. I was really impressed with her. So 2 very strong candidates this year again. So there'll be lots of choice for the candidates. So I'm quite happy with that.
I was about to say that sounds very promising for Brazeau County, that so many good people are coming forward to provide their time to Brazeau and the leadership around here. And I'm looking forward to Division 6. And it looks like all across all the divisions, we're going to have a lot of competition and lots of new people coming forward too, even on the Reeve level. It looks like we have competition on the Reeve too.
Yeah, the Division 6 area, I'm somewhat familiar with that. There are a lot of good people there. The Moose Hill Bridge, there's a want to get that replaced with some STIP funding, right? It's a bridge that you can't really cross with a combine or a big truck or an oil rig, and it cuts off the population from industry. So to drive around that, you have to drive around through Alsike to get to Breton. Otherwise, if you could went across that bridge with a larger vehicle, it cuts it to about 15 minutes, but yeah, or less. It's right there. So that would be one issue. There's also a community hall that fell into disrepair, and the boards are sitting in the Moose Hill Community Hall. But yeah, the boards are all busted up, and it's a hazard. So we've been trying to get that cleaned up, but the provincial government owns that property, so we've been hounding them to do that. But yeah, for the most part, the roads out that way are very nice. Some of the best roads are in that division, and it's just because I think at that time, the county, Brazeau County wasn't Brazeau County. It was run by Parkland, Leduc, and Yellowhead, so 3 different counties. So they all had input into what was going on. So I believe Leduc County had access to that, and they just had a different way of building roads, and they were longer lasting than the ones that Yellowhead built for us, and Parkland's not much better.
Well, that's excellent to know. So we inherited some good infrastructure. We better maintain it and expand on it. So Moose Hill Bridge is something that's come up in my conversations with the public. A resident has highlighted, and it's also dangerous or concerned around there as well. So yeah, that's come up. And then the community center as well. So you're saying it's a provincial level conversation. We kind of need to light a fire under their butt to get things done. So good to know. And I'll be door knocking and getting my messaging out too as well. So in a councillor level campaigning, how do you normally, well, this is another election for you, how do you normally do it? Is it door knocking? Do you set up events? Do you send out mailers? What's effective for you?
The last go around, I was just door knocking, and that's what I'm going to do this time as well. Now, last time I didn't do any newspaper ads. This time I'm doing some ads. So I've got leaflets, pamphlets out, and I've just started. So I've got the Bear Lake area done, and that took a full 8 hours. So there's 300 homes, and I figure it's going to take me 8 days to get to all of them, full days. And it's like 275 square miles I've got to travel. So it's just a lot. And everybody's got a dog. And everybody in my division has a dog. And most of them are really nice. So I carry a bag of dog treats to bribe them to get out of the vehicle. And you don't know who you're going to meet. So I've been kicked off of one property. The gate was open, and the people that used to live there, I was very familiar with them, and I helped them out with lots of things. I thought they were still there. I drove in, and the lady that was there was like, "This is private property. You need to get off right now." And others will be very kind to you. And I've got a basket of tomatoes, right, that I came away with, and others invite you in for a coffee. So you could be there for the first. I knew this from the first go around. This couple, they kept me there for I think 2.5 hours. So you got to plan for maybe some extra time to spend, because some people want to show you a car collection, or farm equipment, or showcase their land. And there are some beautiful properties. There's one that looks like a golf course up on the Bear Lake Road. It's amazing, and I'm going to show my son that maybe he might want to buy it, because the guy owned a cat, so he actually just sculpted the landscape, and it looks like Jasper Park Lodge in there. It's just amazing.
Well, I just want to add, speaking about your newspaper ads, I just want to bring this up.
Oh, thank you.
Which I find very entertaining. And yes, you were pretty blunt by saying yes. So you could do worse. Re-elect Glen Gunderson.
Nobody in the community knows me, so I've been to a lot of functions, and they just assume I'm a county worker. They're like, "Well, you work for the county, right?" I'm like, "No, I'm a counselor." So I run into that at airport functions or the mayor's gala or whatever. It's like, "Well, because you're picking up plates or whatever," and they just say, "Well, you must work for the county." And no, I'm a counselor. So I'm just trying to generate some interest, because people aren't watching the meetings. They're not reading the newspapers. So I thought, well, if I can do something a little eye-catching, I've also got billboards. I'll put them out with it. But yeah, I thought, well, maybe this will drive a little support my way.
Yeah, it caught my eye. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a recent picture, right?
That was grade 9. So, but yeah, my hair was about as good as it was going to get at that point. So I had to use it.
Well, there's a good tip. I got to pull up a new picture because my hair is like gone. So yes, we're gonna
fix for that. They have a fix for that now, right? Or you can go to Turkey now and get that fixed. So
yeah. Well, this is who I am. I'm a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. So we'll just keep it that way. So a lot of door knocking, gate knocking, dog treats, and be prepared to drink a lot of coffee. So those are some good first tips. And I have been invited to a Buck Creek Community Center October 7th, where the candidates will be meeting. And I believe the Reeves will be there as well, because in Brazeau, and it's different. It's not the same all across Alberta. In Brazeau, we do elect our Reeve. So we actually have 2 people to vote for in this municipal election for council, and then we have the school board.
And for those who don't know, what is a Reeve?
Great
so
question.
A Reeve is basically it's a mayor. And a Reeve used to be a position. It was started off in England, where a Reeve, and they had quite a bit of power. They could carry a weapon at one time, but they brought that term over here. And what it was for a county, and what it was is that the councillors would actually vote for that person. So we'd all get elected on board. There could be 2 people from Division 6 get on in that case, right? And that you might vote for that person to be a Reeve. So it's whoever you wanted to be chair. So you nominate and then acclaim. So what we've done, we moved away from that in Brazeau County. He's actually a mayor, because now the people vote for him. But we've kept that term. So we have Pat Voss, and she was a Reeve once before, and we have Bart Guion, and he's been a long time Reeve. And Bart, I don't know if anybody knows here, he was kind of instrumental in preventing the Bighorn land grab here in 2019. We had a provincial park called the Bighorn Wildland Provincial Park that the documents were leaked from forestry, because they were not very for it, so they leaked it that this was going to happen. It was supposed to all happen without anybody knowing. But there wasn't any consultation with the county. There wasn't any consultation with farmers or Indigenous groups or logging or anything. And it was a piece of land that stretched from Brazeau County all the way south down to Red Deer almost. And it would have taken up Sundre, cutting the farms there and turn them into a park, right? So you wouldn't be able to possibly do any recreation or industry on those lands. So we had a rally, because something called Rally Canada, move up around it. And Bart spoke at that, and he actually brought county maps and let them use the county logos. So it put a little weight behind it, and that got snuffed out.
Very cool, because not every area will vote in their reeve. So like you're saying, it's more like a mayor because the people choose it. And originally I was considering running as reeve, but I thought it's probably best that I focus on my direct neighborhood and what I can do here. So Division 6 is where I decided to run. And Paula is also running as a school board trustee for Ward 2.
Yep.
So
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Education is really important to us.
The school trustees here are already acclaimed, right? So Daryl Scott. And who was the other lady?
Daryl's Ward 1, I believe.
Yeah, Daryl's Ward 1, and he has, and there's two positions there. So Becky May, Becky is running for the second position. In Ward 2, we had May Tryon, but she will not be running again. So
she's not, okay.
No, May isn't. And actually, I'm going to be meeting up with her a little bit later on today. And so it's just myself and a woman called Holly Ekstrom, who is the wife of Dallas.
The current councilor.
Yes, Division 6.
Councilor, yeah. So yeah, we have Dallas he's a big farmer down in that area, and that family's been in that area for a long time, right? The Ekstroms, I know a lot of his cousins, Weston Ekstrom, who owns Keybray. Yeah, like I said, it's a big family, that one, for sure. We also have I've been working, like I got when I come to councilor, I got to be beside Anthony Heinrich, right? And I kind of used him as a mentor. But one of the biggest things he did that I want to make mention of this is this year we were faced with Bill 293, which is the Pandemic and Prevention Act, right? That the government had already passed, but it was in the Senate just for the final rubber stamping. And this one basically would just give carte blanche. So if the World Health Organization said that all cattle had to be killed, or all beef markets had to be done, or all chickens have to be killed, or ostriches, or whatever, they would kind of just elevate it from the CFIA. And they could say, well, this is being done by the World Health, and we have to do it. So it's a huge bill. And so Anthony brought it to our attention at the ASB, and then we ended up we drafted a letter, and then he signed everyone, and every senator got a letter from our ASB. And then we also CC'd that to all the other ASBs in Alberta, and everyone else dogpiled onto that. So there was a horrific amount of letters that went to the Senate. So that was for advocacy. He's a very powerful individual when it comes to things like that. We have Donna Wiltsey. She was from Lodgepole. She's not running again this year, but she's been amazing because such an advocate for her community and recreation, and everybody knows Donna. So anytime you go to a function, they all know her. We had Cody Brooks for a while. He was a younger fella, and it was nice to have that youth on it, that take on it. And he also had some very high morals. So what ended up happening, the Division 1 is a very rich division. It's hard to live in there because all the homes are around river estates there. And he was renting and had to find a new place, couldn't. So he was out of council for about 6 months. And that's all you can be before you have to quit. You got to resign. So he did. So anybody else might have just continued on living. But yeah, he's got some strong morals, that fella. And yeah, he's running for town council this year. So I hope to see him again. He was a very smart fellow. And then we have Division 4 Councillor Kara Westerland, and she's the first female president of the Rural Municipalities of Alberta. I helped her run in the 2024 race to get that position by just putting water bottles out with her face on it on the table. So she advocates for family and the kids in this community, which is great. We're usually aligned on votes that way. Like I said, already talked about Park, yeah. But yeah, we had some great CEOs too, right? We had Kent Edney when I first started, and he really helped me out. He was new to the county as well. He ended up when Chester went sideways, and Pat Vincent was interim CEO there. Pat scouted out Kent and brought him down to Chestermere. So we lost our CEO, and we ended up getting Rudy Friesen. And Rudy's he's got a background in radio first because he's got this great voice. And Rudy also was at the time, well, he was at Lethbridge first, handling the big agribition, or that big center there. A lot of people, hundreds of people he managed. And then he went to the town of Bowden as a CEO. And now he's kind of, he was so close to what Kent was. That's why we brought him on. And he's been great here as well. His wife is actually the president of 4-H, and Rudy, he's gotten this connection. So in one case, we were at the legislature, and the Speaker of the House, Nathan Cooper, gave us a guided tour at night after hours. So unlocked the doors, let us in, and we walked the entire building with him, hearing all the stories. So he's well connected. So this county is very well represented, right, with the people that we've had, and I hope to continue that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And what I really enjoy is when I'm listening to the meetings. First, thanks a lot for publishing them, so they're available for people on YouTube to consume. But we're very active. I've seen that the councillors are very active. They're going to conferences. They're going to other meetings. They're working with the counterparts all over the place. And then the MLAs, there's a lot of interactions there. But what does a typical quarter look like for a councillor? So the 3-month window there. You got 3 meetings or so, and what is going on for a councillor?
Normally, it's 2 meetings a month. One of the first, the Tuesday, and then about the third part of the month, another Tuesday. So there's 2 council meetings, and you never want to miss them. And then you're going to be put on boards. You're going to say what board's a recreation board, or an ASB board, or an MPC board, whatever you're interested in, and we'll try to figure out where you can sit on those, because we try to divvy up the meetings equally with everybody. And so yeah, you'll have 1 or 2 extra meetings. So 4 meetings a month you can expect. And then you can kind of see there's some councillors, Anthony Heinrich, he's not going to go to the big conventions. That's not his cup of tea. He's more effective as a councillor. He reads the news, so he's very informed all the time. Doesn't much care for that. I like to go to the conventions. It just gives you a chance to meet business leaders and political leaders, right? So the advocacy there is that I enjoy, and it's just it's a great way to promote Brunswick County, because when I first started, even Kara Westerland, we'd go to a meeting there, and like she was vice president of RMA at the time, but she'd be introduced as a councillor for Drayton Valley. It was never Brunswick County, right? Even myself, when I first started saying it, I'd worked for Yellowhead County for so long as a truck driver. I used to water roads for them. So I would say I'm Glen Gunderson with Yellowhead County. That took a while to weed that out of my system. So Brunswick County just was never on a lot of people's minds. So I'm trying to get some awareness. We actually had our executive assistant. She came up with the idea of taking a photo. We have a photo contest every year. So she took one of the photos, which was a pump jack, this black and orange pump jack in a field. And she had that imprinted on socks with Brunswick County on it. And I have passed those out everywhere. And the people love them. But it's just a one way to get awareness around it. And that might have been probably one of the most effective advertising, because before we had these bigger toques and things like that, and I would offer it, nobody would take it. There was a deck of cards, no thanks, don't want it. And but these socks, no one has said no to these things. So she really hit a home run with that.
And I also noticed that there's a lot of collaboration with Drayton Valley, because it's a municipality on its own, and Breton and others. So there's a lot of work that's done, not just on the county level, but also with, the municipalities within the county or within the boundaries of the county, but they're their own municipality. How is that relationship?
There's better. When I first got there, it was jarring. I was hearing what was being said in the room from all the councillors, and I was just like, you got to be kidding me, what's going on here, right? So we did have a meeting, and I really encouraged everybody to just let it out. Like, what are your issues here? And we did, and nobody came away from that meeting happy. And there was some people, a joint meeting, right, between the town and county, and it got pretty heated. The next one got better, and the subsequent ones have gotten better. So just getting rid. There was some things that were done back in the 80s that were still grudges that were being held for some reason, right, on shows for Jamboree and stuff like that. So it was like ridiculous, and we had some issues with the baseball. So that the one time the town had the minor ball league, the grass was being cut by the town. So most of the time, a lot of the time, the minor ball dads would go cut it because I knew I was cutting it as well before big games. But the town was looking after it. But they were kind of shuffling the books to make it the county pay for all of it, right? So once that was caught, well, then there was a kerfuffle over that. It was just something so small, but it was like you shouldn't have. Town was in the wrong at the same time, right? So that led to recreation issues when that pool came up, and the county didn't want to pay their part of it. I wasn't on council at the time. I think I was the first donator to that pool. When it first came up, I threw a check at $1,000 at it, like, do it. So my name's on the wall there, but it was years before, in the first planning stages. And but yeah, the county didn't want to put any money. Not all council, of course. There was lots that did, but just the way it works out, didn't want to. So they fought the town. And it was a lot of money spent bickering one way or another, and it ended up going to arbitration, and the county ended up losing it, had to pay. Plus, we ended up having to pay for the early childhood development care there for a slug of that. We just stopped paying for that, but it was a penalty, I believe, right? For so many years, then you're going to have to pay for this and smarten up, sort of a thing. So, like I said, it wasn't good because there's always been, even if you go out, you'll find that there's a lot of people still aggravated with things the town did from back in the 70s, right? That they didn't rent the curling rink to an agricultural society or whatever. So, or they wanted to charge for an event for a rodeo too much money. So the town was, back then, the town was run differently. It was the people there I wasn't really in favor of either. So yeah, the council right now has been very good to work with. So I'm hoping we can just continue that relationship. We recently capped off the year with a joint town and county charity golf event, the inaugural one, but we raised money for the Stollery and for the Pembina Crisis Connection Society and the Drayton Valley Health Foundation. So $17,000 a piece for that. And it didn't cost anything for the county. The town, unfortunately, they did, some of their staff went a little bit far, but they helped out, but it did cost the town a little bit of money just for organizing that. But we're going to try to balance that out for next year and see if we can't do better.
Now, one of the issues that I was paying close attention to when I was going through the council meetings was homelessness and our municipal, or is it a municipal landfill? There seems to be an issue. So you got 3 levels there that kind of need to address it. Drayton Municipality, Brazeau, the county, and then the provincial level. That issue seems to be on a lot of people's minds as well. How's that flushing out over the last couple of years?
I couldn't tell you because we have a homeless task force, and they just invited the Reeve to go attend those, and I haven't gotten any information from those meetings. I'm the second to go. If he can't go, I'll go, but I can't really report on other than I know what's going on. I've been in that bush. I walked in there. The Church of Life, I believe, was in there cleaning up, and I thought, well, I'll go help. And I went in there, and I spent an hour in there, and I was exhausted, and it stunk so bad. Everything you grabbed just reeked, and then it went into that bin, and it reeked even worse. So after an hour in that hot sun, it was something. But you go back in the bush there, and there's fully built out homes with fences and gates, and yeah, it's become a lifestyle back in there. That land isn't on county land. It's just kind of it's in the weird mix. It's on provincial land that is leased by the town for the dump. So very difficult to deal with that kind of a situation. If it was on county, I'd be way more vicious, and I'd say that's got to go. But it's not county land. Best I can do is just volunteer as a resident and go, I'd like this cleaned up, because as you drive by, you see it, and it's not really something that is acceptable. We were in Quebec. Well, we went to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. There was a study tour over to Gatineau from Ottawa, and I took that. And the mayor of Gatineau, what they've done is they've actually built an asphalt pad, and then they've set up sea cans and turned them into tiny homes. So everybody's got 100 square feet. It's not just enough to live in, not enough to hoard anything or whatever, but there's garbage there where they can get rid of it. There's a community space for them to be there, so they don't need to be in the local libraries. And there's bicycle workshops where you can fix your bikes or whatever. But they take really good care of the people. And for Gatineau, there wasn't anybody on the streets. It was really interesting. I was so perplexed because you just walk across the bridge into Ottawa, and there's homeless everywhere. They're everywhere. And so I asked the mayor, I said, well, what's going on here? Like, you got a good deal here. How come all the people from Ottawa aren't coming over to take advantage of this situation? He goes, you have to be, your healthcare card has to say you're a resident or you're born in Quebec, basically, right? So if you're not in Quebec, you don't get access to that. So they spent quite a bit of money on it, but they figured by the time they spent money on policing and the mental health and the hospitals, it was cheaper to go this way, and it probably was. But she just took the bull by the horns. But she did clean up the streets quite nicely, and like I said, the people that are in Ottawa are just SOL. They can't use those facilities. So it's interesting, and I kind of like that idea that you're not taking in other provinces' headaches. So in our case, from BC, we have a lot of people from BC here, right? They've been addicted to the provincially, or the drugs that are given by the province, and then they end up here somehow, and they're still getting the drugs. And apparently, there's like 20 drug dealers in this community, and it's just unreal that we haven't been able to crack down on any of that.
That is unfortunate. What would you say is the relationship between council and school boards? So, for example, running for Wildrose School Division, there's lots of schools in the area for Brazo. What's the relationship like?
It's amenable. We were very much against closing down the Breton School, right? We didn't understand why, because that would affect that community so much if you take those kids out of the community. And so we sided with the people on that against the school board. The school board did ask us to do the plowing because we have plow trucks, we have sanding trucks, some skid steers and everything else. And they were like, why don't you guys just come and do our parking lot at the same time? We shied away from that just because we are super busy during the wintertime anyway. And I don't understand why a school board, they make a fair bit of money, how they can't afford to have a skid steer of their own and an operator. What they were saying is that they couldn't find anyone, a local contractor to do it because they've made it so the insurance premium you got to carry so many millions of dollars worth of liability or commercial insurance, and a lot of guys, the small operators, couldn't do it, and so they just shied away from it. So I don't understand the school on that. I think they should just do their own because it would be simpler than us going in there and then having somebody slip and trip on the ice and then sue the county. So if the school board wants to do it, if they can't find a local guy to do it because they've set the standards so high, then just do it themselves. But other than that, we have a meeting with them once a year just to catch up on what's going on. But other than that, there's not a lot of interaction between us and the school board.
Interesting. Would you think it would be beneficial to have more frequent meetings instead of just once a year?
We would have to have something to talk about. So it was interesting the last time we had a lady come in. Well, it was Councillor Wiltsey. She had heard about equine therapy for troubled youth, and she brought it to the council's attention. And she wanted to have the county put into it because the county of Wetaskiwin was funding it for equine therapy that was located in Brazeau County. So it kind of looked bad on us that we're not doing that. So they're funding it, we're not. So it wouldn't be a lot of money. It'd be a couple $1,000s. It wasn't a big deal, but we couldn't get our head around how to just do that, how to just give it. We needed a request. So we added it to the school board agenda. We said equine therapy. We talked about it at the school board and it was all good. It was really interesting. Okay, well, we're going to do this. And then when it came to the council meeting, that letter came to the council meeting from the school board asking for funds for it. There was at least 2 of my councillors that completely forgot about the whole meeting, and they were totally dead set against it. They didn't understand why is the school board asking for money. It's like we initiated the talks to begin with, and it was so close to just getting voted down because of that. Because yeah, it's because so much time had lapsed from one to the next, and people just forget. And as soon as they hear school board, it's like, well, we're not paying for that. And it was something to tell them, we were the ones who initiated this entire thing to try to get the school board to send us a request for the money so that we could properly give the money. But it was frustrating. But yeah, more meetings. I don't know if more meetings. We'd have to have something on the agenda that we could bite our teeth into, because it's rather expensive to pull town and county and school board all together, right? Everyone's making $200 for that meeting. So you have to have a good reason to pull everybody together. So that's why it's only been once a year. And usually the school board, they're paying for the coffee and the sandwiches on top of it. So.
Well, Glenn, thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate that. Thanks for your time in the past as well. We've had some conversations on the phone, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you a lot better during this campaign run, and hopefully sitting near you around that council table after October 20th. So congratulations for running as a candidate again. You've definitely caught up to speed quickly, and I love that picture from grade 9. I wish I had my
I'm just going to bring it up again.
Bring it up again. There we go.
Re-elect Glen Gunderson. You could do worse.
You could do worse.
You could do worse, right? You could definitely do worse. But yeah, Jason, I want to wish you all the best of luck. And enjoy your time. The race is the best part of it. You've just finished a race yourself, right, with the PPC. So you know what it's all about. And it's just, here's another race, and go at it and do your best. And I wish you all the best. It'd be awesome to have you on. I think a great advocate for other causes like the ostriches and things like that, right? That there's so many different things that we could tackle. But yeah, like I said, we are the minority. When you go to FCM, RMA, we are the minority. So yeah, just expect that it's a bit of a vampire's den in those areas, but I think we need more people on that side. But thank you.
No, thank you very much. And yeah, I'm very sensitive to government overreach, overstep, interference, all that kind of stuff. So if any of that's going on, that's where my nose will be digging. And I have a good way of connecting to people and pulling the issues out and then representing. So I'm looking forward to meeting my neighbors as I knock on those gates and those doors. And we'll double check the whole treat idea, because sometimes that attracts the dogs, or who knows, but we'll figure this out. I think this will be a good time. So Glenn, if there's anything else we can do for you, maybe a coffee, we'd be happy to do so.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Take care.
You too.
Bye. Brazeau County's in good position. It sounds like there's a lot of good people out here, really care about the community, and I'm looking forward to getting to know my neighbors. I've already started. We started talking weeks ago, and this is going to be an interesting race. And like Glenn said, he won by a few votes, so every vote matters. So people need to get out there and have their say, and put a little check on the ballot, and make sure that the next 4 years, Brazeau County is well represented. Yeah,
and my fellow Albertans, go ahead and see who is running for your local council, for your school board trustee. Get to know them, read their marketing material, send an email, make a phone call, get the information, and come October 20th, vote.
I like that. Come October 20th, vote. And that's great advice. Let's make this one of the larger turnouts at the municipal elections I've ever seen, because more and more people are getting involved voting. So thank you all very much for hanging out with us as we did some municipal conversations with a councillor. And we'll see where this goes. We'll keep you up to date. We're going to try and get you more of the candidates, incumbents, and new candidates as well. And the school board as well. It'll be great to hear some more of those conversations. And there you go. You got to fix that snow issue in Breton.
That's very, very interesting. And so, for example, he made the reference that our elementary school, so we had two separate buildings. We have Breton Elementary and Breton High School. Our elementary school is going to be amalgamated into the high school because they're saying that there are issues with the elementary school building. So instead, again, details to come out, but instead of renovating the building, creating a new building, they're adding them into the high school. So people have concerns on, especially because the high school footprint isn't expanding. They're just rejigging the layout. So they have concern about merging the children, smaller footprint. How is that going to encourage the Breton and surrounding areas to grow if the school system is limited in size? So that's been a big concern for parents that I've been speaking to.
Yeah, you're already connected to the school, talking to administration, talking to the past school board trustee.
Yep.
Your coffee is today.
Yep.
And Paula's already hit the ground running. Her little legs are going really quick.
My little legs.
I've got little legs.
I got long
you're
legs.
a tall lady for sure. But thank you very much for joining us today. I hope if you're in Alberta, you're excited about the election. And if you're not in Alberta, you do the same thing. Pay attention to your next elections, municipal, county, whatever's coming up for you, and get involved. But thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah. Take care. Have a great day and see you tomorrow.
Love you all and God bless.